A new Deadlock patch means a new Deadlock Patch Notice. On the 6th of December, Valve shipped a new major update, with Park Lane receiving its visual overhaul, making it a whole lot more green. 7 fans will be green with envy as well, because you can now move and cast lightning bolts in your tier 3 version of Stormcloud. Alongside that, we've got new hero animations and even new hero models upcoming and added to the game. Lot to get through, so let's get you up to speed with what's changed and where I've been. As always, I'm your host, Jacky. I've been away for a little while now, so unfortunately there hasn't been too many uploads on the channel, as I was working the Perfect World major RMRs. Have a quick look at what I was up to.
MP9 shuts down Detour, but he's gone to force it, and it's all simple. 1v2, 13 seconds. If he can deny the plant, they could still win this one. Takes the head off, jumps into the bomb site, flying through the air. It's simple to save it for Falcons.
Of course, being a commentator, I juggle the patch notice videos and my passion for both Counter-Strike and Deadlock as best as possible. But don't worry, for the people asking where I've gone and what's wrong with the channel, we're back and everything's fine. So let's get into your regularly scheduled programming. First and foremost, we've received a new hero straight to Hero Labs. Raven, the Spy Master, with quite a unique and interesting backstory, featuring a relatively incomplete kit that's currently still in development. He's someone to try out with a cool new model. Speaking of which, of course, I teased the fact we've had newer models added inside of this patch, and for Mirage, he's one of them, receiving a bigger visual overhaul, changing his pose, his unique movement as well, with all of his animations now being far more fleshed out. You can see he's really starting to come together and get far more visual fidelity. Alongside that, Abrams also has a work-in-progress model that can be accessed through the console commands. This is what it looks like, his new upcoming body and upcoming face. A lot more details. It feels like really it's been a drastic overhaul of sort of how the older character looked in terms of the way they wanted to look now. Haggard, tired, like a detective where things really have been going wrong. More artistic direction taken potentially from the time period and setting of Deadlock as well, in which you can see the higher quality shoes, higher quality jacket, the difference on the way he's even wearing his trousers, and a new purple tie that matches the back of his coat. A lot of cool visual changes there to Abrams. Seen a bit of a split in the community about how people feel about this one, so let us know in the comments. And of course, you've got the gigantic overhaul that is the meat and potatoes of the update on Park Lane. Park, of course, being Purple Lane. I've seen some people getting confused about that, but now visually you should make that connection one-to-one. On screen you can see the before and after footage simultaneously of the skyline, the changes with the new trees, the way it feels really far more open and incredibly breathable compared to what was quite a claustrophobic portion of the map on both the York and Purple side of things. I think it's a really nice change. Visually, a brilliant first step. This is where the teleport has been placed as well, by the way. It's been moved, of course, underneath, so it's no longer up top where the new gate is. It's just underneath by the veil. You can even see, though, this sort of more aggressive direction they've been going for, where things are a little bit sharper, feel a little bit more ruthless, kind of lived in. That element is being placed across the board with even the newer models that are coming in. And you can see even a lot of this is placeholders as well. It's not as if it's a final art pass that's gone in now, but it goes to show the level of detail and level of care that's being added into the game to bring it up to what Valve is happy with. You can even hide inside of the new plant pots if you angle your character just right, for some of the smaller heroes at least. And talking small, let's have a look at the details. You can see even the floor texture, the actual bricks, the way the grass looks, the rock structures as well. It's all been changed and has a little bit more visual identity specifically for this lane. I know people have been getting confused as well, saying, but it's Purple Lane, not Green Lane. Very true, but green is a color that does represent leaves, but parks tend to contain a lot of trees and leaves, so it's a catch-22 on that one. We'll see what Valve do with it. Of course, coming from my Caldera video, if you've ever seen that. If not, I recommend you go back and watch that one. Actually, you can see where Valve are clearly getting a lot of the ideas for inspiration from previously designed and developed parts of the map that unfortunately they had to leave on the cutting room floor. So this is more how they're now starting to sprinkle some of that in. Like, I'm pretty sure this structure here If it wasn't this exact model, it was something incredibly similar that was used to be used on Caldera Trooper's version of the map when transitioning from Neon Prime into initial Deadlock, sort of Shadowline era of the game. This was on York Lane. Of course, York Lane back then was the huge park with the water that ran through it, looking very different. Now it's Park, ironically, that becomes a park. You can see the new Camels up close here as well. You can get on these. The clipping's actually pretty good. There's a lot you can do to fight from them. That's not it, though. There's smaller details that have been sprinkled in this patch and the previous major patch that dropped whilst I was away commentating Counter-Strike for the major cycle. I love the new owl statue. I think it's really pretty. Obviously, it's got the 3 eyes there, so perspective counts and it throws you off a little bit. But this is what I was talking about with the older additions to visual fidelity. Valve added these sort of flapping textures like drapes, like ripped sort of window frame protectors effectively that would be placed over the flats and apartments around Broadway Lane. Seems like it's only Broadway that's gotten them, but they are quite nice. They flap in the wind. They have different sort of assets here depending on how ripped or how small the windows are. But that's it for your patch notice. These are the things that I chose that were particularly interesting in the 6th of December update. The podcast will be back as well, so don't worry about that. But for now, of course, I've been your host, Jacky, and I will see you next time, New York.